All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Back again.
Here we are.
Here we are again. Back at it.
We just don't stop.
Don't stop. Can't make
stop.
us.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
can't. We don't.
You can
Can't
try.
stop, won't stop.
That's right. Can't stop, won't stop.
This is... What episode is this? What episode are
I
we
think
on?
this is 8.
Oh my
The
gosh.
Ocho.
The Ocho, which means
Ocho.
we've been doing this consistently for 2 months.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. They say like a habit forms after... How many weeks?
I don't know.
I don't know. This is a habit now. We have a habit.
We have a habit of doing this.
Giving you the midweek something.
That's right.
Where we talk about a whole lot of nothing.
That's right. Yes, we do.
That is.
Yep.
We are back. So the word challenge department has been lacking these few weeks. We haven't had the little Easter eggs.
No, like I've been.
That's upsetting.
It's 2 weeks in a row that there's no word challenge.
That's a big ouchie.
It is a big ouchie. Yeah.
What am I supposed to pay attention to in the sermon now?
Yep. I see how it is. Yeah, I don't know what you're supposed to pay attention to. Not the sermon, of course, right? Or
Yeah. That would make too much sense. That would make too much sense. Were there any secret songs?
There was one secret song. Yep, let me find it. I put it in my notes.
Here we go.
I want to make sure I get it right.
Yep.
So where was I at? So I put the lyrics in. I was talking about in Daniel chapter 4.
Mm-hmm.
I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at ease in my house, and I saw a dream that made me afraid, and I laid in bed. The fancies, the wisdoms that had alarmed me. So I was talking about like that whole idea, and then I talked about how my wife had that dream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. So I was talking about wife had the dream, and she was mad at me because of it. So and I was like, should I apologize? Do I not apologize? I'm not sure what the do here is. Right? Yeah. So anyhow, I'm not going to go into that any further because I just don't want to upset the wife. You know how it is.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You actually don't.
I don't know.
There we go. Marriage lesson numero uno: don't upset the wife.
Got it. Happy wife, happy life.
Correct. Yeah, you got it. There we go. Okay. So in there, I was like, I said something, and then I said, this is my fight song. Take back my life song. I prove I'm all right song.
Oh.
Yeah, I kind of threw it in there, subtle though.
That was super subtle. I didn't catch that one.
Yeah,
that was a nice little addition.
Yeah, I kind of put it in as my fight song, take back my life song, prove I'm right song, and then, but I didn't like sing it. I kind of said it.
You kind of
said
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's where you,
sometimes I push it a little heavier, you know. And that one I didn't. So
you kind of.
I guess I don't really know.
Slid that under the table.
I'd have to go watch it again, but yeah. I felt like when I was doing it, it wasn't like coming out right for whatever reason. I don't know. It's all a blur to me.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Yeah.
Just kind of flows together.
You know it's not a blur.
What is not a blur?
You are looking really swaggy with that chain.
I learned from the best. So my birthday is tomorrow.
I know. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I know.
So this is the last day. I am 21 years old. And I decided I was going to swag out.
Yes.
This year. And so I got my hair dyed.
I know. It looks good too.
Got the chain.
Yeah.
I got another pair of glasses coming in.
What?
Yeah. And
you were looking pretty fly.
Thank you. And I'm going to get like ear piercings, you know.
Yeah. You're going to go gauges or just piercings?
Just piercings. I'm going to get a sleeve tattoo. No, probably not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Maybe the ear piercing. My mom, every time I mention it, she gives me this face like I just killed a puppy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why would you? I'm so like all the mom like disappointment. What are you doing with your life? Why aren't you? Yeah. That face all just like contrived into one. Whenever I mention tattoos or mention piercings, I get that face. I've only seen it a couple of times, but the times I have seen it was when I mentioned tattoos or piercings.
Yep, that'll do it. Yeah, when I got my first tattoo, my mom had a big look of disappointment.
I didn't know you had a tattoo.
Yeah. I know, yeah. Oh. I would talk about it, but we're just a church podcast, so.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. It's on my shoulder.
Sun's out, guns out.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Summertime tattoo.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't go to church in a tank top very often.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know. There's like a time and place, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think that really fits in with the.
Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really. Yeah. Yeah. Well.
So
here we go.
Anyways. What I really liked this week was all about confrontation, taking confrontation from a biblical perspective, which is so good. I don't think a lot of people think confrontation is just a minefield. And you tip around the mines, and hopefully you might step on a mine. How do I know when to step on a mine, when not to step on a mine? It's like a huge topic. And, people suck at confrontation. Let's be honest. You suck at confrontation until you do it a lot, and you do it well a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that this week we approached it from a biblical perspective, from what Daniel got out of it. And I love what you pulled from the text and really expanded from it and really just kind of showed us a biblical example of confrontation. For some people, at least for me, at least, a lot of words of affirmation people are really afraid of conflict and confrontation in general, because what if I say something that hurts someone's feelings?
Yep.
Or what if this person says something that hurts my feelings, or I don't want to hurt this relationship where I have with this person. But like you said, in relationships, conflict is inevitable.
Oh, yeah. It's going to happen.
Confrontation will happen.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to happen. Conflict is just, you can't get around it. In fact, if anything, confrontation should be, like if there's a healthy confrontation, you're actually helping your friend, helping the relationship.
Right.
And not confronting something is potentially hurting the relationship.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, I tell this story, I've told it a few times, but where my friend he has a glass eye, and so we get out of the truck and we're going to go get some lunch. And when we're climbing out, like I looked over at him, and his one eye was looking right at me, and the other one was like way out because it had like gone off track or whatever. And so I'm assuming that was the glass one. I don't really. So the glass one,
Yikes.
Was looking the wrong way. And so I just told him, I said, "Hey man, you got a wandering eye, And he was like, "Oh." And I was like, "Yeah, you got something going this way, And he kind of chuckled, turned around, went to the car mirror and like rubbed it and straightened it out. And he's like, "Better?" I was like, "Better." And he's like, as we're walking across the parking lot into the burger place, he says, "Well," he says, "thanks for being brave enough to say that." And I was like, "Well, I can't let you, walk around like that." And he's like, "Well, I really appreciate it. A lot of people wouldn't have done that. They would have been like, how do I talk about this guy's eye, And so,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I know there's times at church you've been like, "Hey, you got a bat in the cave," if you know what I'm saying. And I just have like a booger hanging out. And like, if you can point out, that someone has a booger in their nose, I feel like you're doing well in that relationship,
Yeah, bat in the cave. That's a good one. XYZ, examine your zipper.
Examine your zipper.
Yep,
Yeah,
XYZ.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there's those easy ones where you just actually. And what are you going to do with your friend? You're going to let them walk around with a booger hanging out of their nose, or or spinach in their teeth, or right? You got something in your grill, It's like, you can't let them walk around like that.
Homie's got to look fresh on the street.
On the street.
On the street.
That's
gotta
right.
be looking fresh.
Gotta be looking fresh. Gotta be looking fly. And and so you got to look good. And so you got that, and you got to take care of your friends. Well, the same thing is true. Is like, what happens if you have a family member who loses their temper a little too quickly on people?
Right.
Or they go to like assuming the worst in somebody instead of assuming the best in somebody.
Yeah.
And you take a situation where they only have part of the facts and they assume the worst about it. Who's going to tell them?
Right.
Like.
Yeah.
And you got to find the right way to do it, which is why that's a harder conversation to have, but to sit down and be like, "Hey, can we talk about something that's really hard? Yeah. And I'm really scared to talk to you about this, but like, I feel like as your friend or your brother or your sister or whatever, that I want to bring something that I've observed." And how do you, it's so difficult to do that. And,
right.
But you find a time, you sit them down and be like, I've noticed this pattern.
Right.
And I'm not going to pick on the individual instances, but I've noticed this pattern.
Right.
That before you have all the information, you'll jump to a conclusion that is negative versus positive. And I think it's causing damage in some of your relationships. It doesn't have to. And then normally that person will, if you have the right things in place, they'll have an opportunity to receive that.
Right. Yeah. And it's a big conversation to have, and it's not an easy conversation to have, because we've all had negative examples of confrontation, negative examples of conflict, and so sometimes we kind of put an overarching like blanket over confrontation that says never touch. Like,
right? Yeah.
Behind a glass wall, never touch. In case of emergency, do not break the glass.
Yeah.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just none of it. But it's so important, like you said, for healthy relationships. And if the goal of confrontation is always to have reconnection or to actually bring two people closer together, then I think it's, like you said, it's essential to have in relationships and marriages and all of that.
Well,
So
in order to get better, you have to have confrontation.
You do.
You have to have improvement. Somebody has to be able to say, you're going the wrong way if you want to get better, or there's a better way to live.
Yeah.
And that requires some sort of confrontation. So if you want improvement in your life, you have to almost crave confrontation from others and correction from others.
Yeah.
And how are you supposed to, like, I only see my life from one perspective. I see myself as a certain way, but I don't think anybody else sees me that way.
Right.
I mean, I see myself as this like bodybuilder, look like The Rock.
Yep.
Like obviously a complete stud.
Naturally. That's what I see.
Right? You know, but like everybody loves me or whatever. What is the way you see yourself? But not everybody, you know, maybe you take it the other way, right? But how else are you going to see your flaws and your imperfections? Or maybe you see your flaws and imperfections and it paralyzes you. Who's going to help you to be able to say, hey, I've noticed this. If you tweaked this one little thing, it would unlock a lot of other stuff.
Right.
And we're so close to our own life, we can't even see it.
Yeah.
And so
that's really good.
And so you need that. We need confrontation. We need it. And we run from it, though, because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
But uncomfortableness brings growth, and growing is uncomfortable. And I don't know. You'll get me going. So
no, that's so good. I love it. And I love how you started it from the context of relationship. Like if you want to have healthy confrontation, balanced confrontation, it has to be from a place of relationship. Otherwise, you're just talking at someone and not talking with them.
Yeah.
And we see it, you know, we've said this last week and you said it on Sunday of like the people on Facebook just like grilling people, just straight throwing darts at people's faces. It's like, what do you expect to happen? Those are really...
Were they going to like, I see the light now from your Facebook comment?
Yeah. Ouch.
Oh,
now I got it.
Now
After your dart hit me in the eye, I got it now.
Yeah. People just dig in, bro, on social media, especially a public forum. Like that is not the time or the place.
Right.
None of those platforms. There's a pastor who has this leadership blog. His name is Kerry Newhoff. And he reaches, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people every week with all of his blogs and podcasts. They made the decision as an organization to turn off the comments on everything because there was so much negativity on a blog by pastors, for people in Christian leadership. Like,
wow.
And even within Christian leadership circles, the blogs are getting so toxic that they turned them off.
Wow.
Right. You know, my first point was like, relationship is the bridge. Like relationship is what is the like context of this. And I just likened it to if you have a heavy message and you have to drive it over a bridge that can support that heavy message. Just because you're a Facebook friend with somebody doesn't mean you can drive a freight train load of confrontation into somebody's life. You're driving over like toothpicks. Your bridge is made of toothpicks. And so if you have that, you can't even roll a marshmallow over that.
Yeah.
You know, and so you got to be able to understand that your relationship has to be able to support the level of confrontation that you want to bring in someone's life. And if your relationship is not strong enough to hold that level of confrontation, then you are not the person to bring that confrontation. Or you need to build your relationship over time to be strong enough to handle that level of confrontation.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with Facebook and social media confrontation is they're trying to drive freight trains over toothpick bridges, and it collapses every time. It doesn't turn out the way that people think it's gonna.
Right. And I love that question that you had with it. Have I invested a relationship with the person that I'm confronting?
Right.
Have I taken the time to get to know this person, to see their life, to see them? I feel like sometimes we can filter people through like, oh, this is just the angry person, or this is the person who just causes drama, or this is the person who does this or does that. But like, do you actually see that person like whole picture? And granted, there's not, you know, I don't know everything about you, and maybe that's probably a good thing, you know, and you don't know everything about me, and that's probably a good thing. And so like, but do you see a full picture of this person where they're more than just their problems, or they're more than just their flaws, or more than what they're going through? The Bible verse that pops into my head is, hey, if a friend offends you, go to that person in secret.
Yeah.
And try to get them to hear you, and if that doesn't work, bring a friend, but don't make that a public thing.
Right.
Or like, for example, I'll keep things pretty anonymous, but I was at like a worship night with young adults, and like prayer time was going great. We were going a little bit over time, and you know when like prayer time becomes like a group therapy session?
No.
Yeah. And so I was like,
I don't like those.
Yeah. And so like I try to cut it short, like, hey, we're really trying to, seek the Lord. Is it all right if we just pray? And like this person like totally like confronts me right there in front of everyone. And it was like, dude, this isn't the time or the place to be doing that.
Right.
And this is really awkward. Can we talk somewhere else, please?
Yeah.
And it's like when you have those, it's like, are you trying to, like you said, is the purpose for hope or humiliation?
Dude, yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Do you want to be right or do you want restoration?
Right.
You ever found yourself in a place where you're fighting and like halfway through your fight, you're realizing like, I might be wrong, but I'm so deep in this at this point, like I'm not going to give up.
Right. And that's such a dangerous spot to be, because all of a sudden I'm not looking for restoration. I'm looking to be right.
Yeah, I'm going to win. I'm going to win this fight.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to win. I'm fighting to win now, and I'm not fighting for restoration. I'm not fighting for any of those things. And
you can't have both.
No, and well, I mean, yeah, you can't. You got to fight for restoration. You got to fight for healing. You got to fight for, you got to fight for the good. And there's a point where everybody's been there.
Yeah.
Where you're in a fight halfway, especially if you're married. Like there's a point. There's a point in every marriage where you have a fight, and about halfway through it, you realize, I might be wrong on this, but I've already said some things, and I can't unsay, and I'm like going to double down.
Right.
And that's just a terrible place to be.
Right. And like I'm going through kind of the same thing with the students, and I'm like, how do you know when to take a pause on the confrontation? When adrenaline hits your bloodstream, hit the pause button. Like when you start getting, oh, they're going to say this, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to, bam, oh, that's when you stop.
Those are the best fights, when you have like, it's in your head first, and like they say all the perfect like setup lines, and you like slam them, and then.
Does that ever actually happen?
No, not in real life. No,
really.
It doesn't happen in real life,
Yeah.
but it's like in your own head, it's like, this is going to be awesome. I can't, But if you're looking forward to the fight,
right,
then you're not ready. If you're looking forward to it, you're not ready.
Right, and if the goal of confrontation is always to reconnect from a disconnect, then what are you doing to start building that bridge from your spot?
Yeah,
and you're not going to build the bridge all the way for them, right? You're going to keep your half. You're going to do your stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to take responsibility for yourself, your feelings, your emotions, your experiences. And then you're going to allow them to also take responsibility for their experiences. And it has to be mutual, right?
Right.
Have you ever had a situation where like you felt like you were owning your feelings, emotions, and the other person was just coming at you and making things personal?
Yep.
Isn't that awful?
That's terrible.
Yeah, it just makes you feel icky.
Yeah, and then there's just a point where you have to like be like, well, I did my part,
right?
And I almost get to a place where you almost pity the other person, because you're like, I'm trying to bring restoration, and this person doesn't want it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it almost makes me sad, at least, or most of the time. I'm like, this makes me sad because I don't want to be in a fight with this person. But they want to be in a fight, and then there's really no really solution.
Right. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
You can either have a duel or a respectful conversation.
Yep.
But as soon as guns come out and bullets start flying, then there's going to be some damage.
Yeah, there will be.
There will be.
Depends on the size of the gun or the bullet, I guess, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even if you miss, like, you're going to hit the background.
Collateral damage.
Yeah. In a duel, there is always collateral damage.
Yep.
Something goes awry. So was there anything in your director's cut from this week that did not make the Sunday morning stage?
Golly. No, not really. I mean, I think I did a good job on boiling it down. Yeah. So, like, there was further maybe expansion I was going to do in some areas, but I was able to kind of like, I think I kind of was able to get everything out I wanted to get out. Mm-hmm. And some weeks it's not the case. Mm-hmm. In fact, next week I'm really struggling. So because of the calendar and the system what we have, this next week is my last week on Daniel, because the week after that, Pastor Steve's going to be in town.
Oh, snap!
And so I can't let him be in town and not preach, right? Like,
yeah,
right. That would be like irresponsible of me.
Irresponsible.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have that man of God in the house. You can't just let him sit in the second row.
Right.
You got to have him come out and preach.
Yeah.
Right. So I have 1 week, and then after that, Pastor Steve's there, and then we're into Palm Sunday, and then it's Easter. So timing wise, I'm just looking at it. I'm like, I only have 1 week left. And so
there's quite a lot left in the book of Daniel.
There's a lot left. And so I'm on the fence. And so I am either going to do where the hand comes on the wall and writes. I don't know, familiar?
Yeah.
So the hand comes on down and writes and onto the wall, and then the whole fight happens, and then the kingdom changes over. Or I'm going to do Daniel in the lion's den.
The classic.
I know, right?
The classic.
Yeah.
Veggie Tales moment. Oh no, what we gonna do? King likes Daniel more than me and you. Oh no, you don't know that?
I don't know that one. Yeah.
That was so every morning before school, my mom would wake us up with Veggie Tales, and so growing up, Veggie Tales was the jam.
That's
and
awesome.
So that was our favorite song. Oh no, what we gonna? It's like 3 asparaguses, like the 3.
Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
No. It was the advisors that were trying to get Daniel killed.
Oh right, yeah.
And they're like scheming, but they're like dancing, scheming.
Yeah.
And it's like 3 asparagus. Oh no, what we gonna do? King likes Daniel more than me and you.
I wonder if I could get that like video clip and put that in.
Oh yes, that would be so good. And then like maybe,
or is it wrong to do Daniel in the lion's den on Palm Sunday?
You're the pastor.
Yeah, I know it feels wrong though. It feels like Palm Sunday should be Palm Sunday, and
that's a toughie.
Yeah, and Easter should be Easter.
Right.
That's what it feels like. I don't know if I should alter that. There's some things you don't change.
There are a few things that you do not change.
Right. You preach about Easter on Easter. You talk about Christmas on Christmas.
I almost feel bad for pastors because it's like every year you have to like take the same thing and talk about like
dude,
Easter.
The struggle's real. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, surprise, Jesus rose from the dead.
Surprise, he was crucified and 3 days later he rose from the dead.
Right, yeah. And it's how do you talk about the same thing every year after year after year? At one point I thought I could take it from like each of the 12 disciples' perspective, and like that might be 12 years worth of stuff,
Oh.
Yeah, but I haven't done that yet. So I think I did one of their perspectives one time, like 6 years ago. But
I like what we have for this Easter. I'm super excited for.
Oh my gosh, I'm so pumped!
It's gonna be lit.
Yeah,
we have really good stuff coming. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
for this Easter, we have a lot of fun things planned.
Our creative team has done such a good job this year.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's so actually impressive. What happens most times with Christmas and Easter is that our creative team kind of comes together and comes up with some creative ideas.
Nice.
And that's normally the catalyst for writing Easter and Christmas messages.
Nice.
Is kind of allowing the creative people to come up with a creative theme and then kind of building from that theme.
I love that.
Yeah, that's normally kind of what we do, at least. But yeah, so this year the theme is it's one word. It's one word.
One word.
And it's empty. And that's all they've given me so far.
That's the little tidbit that you get. A little bit of a taste.
A little taste, yeah.
A little taste of
morsel.
What is to come. But back to Daniel.
Oh, yeah.
Besides the gossiping asparagus and the Veggie Tales.
Yeah.
I love that we approach confrontation from the context of a relationship, but we take a posture of humility. I feel like sometimes we can come to the place of I'm right, you're wrong, listen to me, like the turn and burn, right? So you go to any college campus, and every month there's always a preacher telling the college campus people that, hey, turn to Jesus or you're going to burn in hell. And it's like, I don't think that's exactly effective.
Really? This happens all the time?
Like at UNM, it was like every month.
It's been a while since I've been at college, so.
It happened like every month. It was like, oh, he's back. Oh, there's a giant crowd of people arguing with him. Yeah,
that doesn't seem like it's productive.
No.
Yeah, and I don't know. You didn't see that modeled by Jesus. Jesus wasn't like fighting with people and arguing with them.
Right.
The only people he argued with and
Pharisees.
fought with, were the Pharisees. So the actual like religious leaders at the time. Jesus was so confrontational. I love that.
Mm-hmm. He was like,
and he was good at it.
Oh, he was the best.
Mm-hmm.
He modeled confrontation.
Yeah.
And he like, I mean, think of it. You know, you've spent these past years following this guy who's like, either he's a lunatic or he's the Messiah.
Yeah, right, dude. There's no other option.
There's no other option.
Like he either is the Son of God and says he is who he says he is,
right?
Or he's a psycho.
Yeah.
Like there's really, because you can't take the words of Jesus and be like, well, he was just a good dude. No,
you can't.
You can't. It's just he's so polarizing. It's one or the other.
Right, and he says things that don't make sense to the disciples. Like multiple times in Scripture, it's like the disciples are like, "Hey, Jesus, I don't get that."
Yeah, when Jesus is like, "Eat my flesh and drink my blood,"
right?
Yeah, they're like, "What the
what?
WTF?"
Right. Jesus has a major confrontation with a lot of his disciples, and most of them leave.
Yeah,
and then he asked the 12, like, "Are you guys leaving too?" But I love how the disciples decided to keep their connection with Jesus above things that still didn't make sense.
Yeah. That's a sermon right there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my, right?
It's just like, eat my flesh, drink my, and that was vulgar.
Dude, that was crazy.
Yeah. That was just straight dropping, like, I don't know if it's on the same level of dropping F-bombs on from the pulpit, but like, it was pretty, you don't say that. No,
it was like cannibalism stuff, and
right.
It was pretty like pretty out there.
And I'm sure the disciples are confused, like what is he talking? Jesus, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, right. We have so many people in your crowd.
Yeah, we have to build. Hey, or build a revolution here. This is where it starts.
We have thousands and thousands of people, and you pop off with that stuff.
Are you joking?
Yeah, I know. He like shrunk his church from like thousands to 12 in like one sermon,
and he was like, "You're gonna leave? Are you gonna leave?"
Yeah, I know. Right.
I'm gonna keep doing my thing.
Yeah. I was like, "Wow,
all right, bro. All right, that's respect."
yeah. He knew he was here on a mission. So
yeah, that's so good.
Man, we keep drifting today.
That is all right.
That's all right.
So how do we approach confrontation with a posture of humility? What does humility look like in confrontation?
Well, I humility is going in not to be right, but it's going in to have that heart of restoration, but also to bring hope.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
That's the thing. Like with Jesus, is that when he confronts people, he does it in a place where he provides hope. And even Daniel provides hope for the king.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, listen, this bad thing is coming, but if you were to change this and this, you'd be restored. And there's got to be hope attached to it. It can't just be a beat down on somebody like, you're the worst, you suck, you failed. Like it can't just be that. And so there's got to be that. So you got to have some hope in there. And I think as Christians, like our goal should be restoration, and we should be confronting people, but with humility,
right, and
with hope. We should be the biggest hope dealers on the planet,
right?
Because the world needs more hope, and we have it. We have the hope of Jesus, and so yeah, man,
we have a living hope,
a living hope.
Yeah,
I like that.
Peter said it.
He did. It's in the Bible.
It's in the Bible.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah,
and. Like you said, with hope, like, are you providing hope, or are you just like beating someone across the face with a Bible?
Right.
I've had that happen. You've had that happen, and it's awful. It's like, I know those verses. I don't think that was the context or the purpose of those verses. And like people are straight getting bopped across the head with the Bible, and it's like, come on, why are we doing this to each other? Like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't help to strengthen community. It doesn't strengthen the body of Christ. Honestly, it just puts a wounding into people against churches and community, and the very place that was meant for people to get, saved, delivered, connected into their purpose and making a difference is the exact place that they want to stay away from.
Right. Yeah, it is. It is wild. I think that the church for a long time, not our church, but like all church for a long time, has kind of had a position of like, you have to be like sanctified, you have to be clean, you have to be perfect before you can belong. And so you have to be better before you can belong. But that's not the model. Jesus modeled you belong and then you get better.
Right.
And so that's what grace is. Grace is allowing people to belong before they get better.
That's so good.
And I think that there's a level of accountability and responsibility that go hand in hand.
Right.
Right. As you move up in responsibility in God's kingdom, there's a level of accountability that comes with that.
Yeah.
And I joke with this in our Connect class, which is where people get connected and part of like a membership. And I joke with people like, hey, different responsibilities, different accountabilities. If you are going to be leading people, you need to be able to like be a strong follower of Jesus if you're trying to teach in Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're going to be a greeter at the front door, you just have to be mostly sober.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people laugh, and I'm like, I'm serious though. Like, yeah.
Right, that's real.
It is real, man. It's like someone might be struggling with an addiction, but I mean, it's like you can belong and be part of the church, and the Holy Spirit will start to convict and work on you and start to develop you. Now, if you have a substance addiction, obviously, like you're not going to be like pastoring the church, right? But because that's a different level of accountability with your responsibility,
right?
But I think people can belong before they behave, and
yeah,
and I think for too long the church has been like almost like, no, you got to be perfect before you show up, and that's really not.
It's not realistic.
It's not in the Bible.
No, it just doesn't.
If they're going to be perfect before they showed up, then you don't need a savior. They don't need Jesus to clean them and set them free and deliver them, and right, like.
Say it louder for the people in the back, Pastor.
I know, right? Yep. There's no people in the back here, though.
There's no people in the back.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just an awkward situation.
Can you hear me back there? Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. The room's not that big.
I'm just trying to give the illusion that it's that big.
Yeah.
But even we see like in the Bible, like where the disciples or Peter are like, they're not fully sanctified, and they come to Jesus and they're like, Jesus, this isn't what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And Jesus is like, well, I'm sorry. Are you the Messiah? Wait a second.
Yeah.
And that confrontation happens again where Jesus is like, listen, like, I'm about my Father's business, and like I'm actually accountable to my Father right now. And so this is what I'm going to do. You're either going to hop on the train and come with me, or I'm going to leave you behind, because this is what I'm doing regardless of what you're saying.
Right.
And so I'm giving you the opportunity to be a part of that and help become world changers. Or you can just keep doing what you're doing and keep living the same way that you were living.
Yep. Yeah. Jesus is a good confronter. I learned a long time ago that I'm not good at convicting people of sin.
Yeah.
And I'll confront behavior and stuff as necessary, and especially with that responsibility, accountability matrix going on. But like really the Holy Spirit is a convictor of sin. Right. And so we point people to Jesus, and Jesus does the work.
Yeah.
Every single time. And when you hear it from God, it's like when you hear God's Spirit convicting you on something, like you'll hear it and receive it. If you hear like some person trying to do that, you'll push people away from God, and they'll be like, well, and they won't receive it.
Yeah.
They just won't.
Yeah. That's so good. Just because that relationship, it's like at the end of the day, can God handle you being mad at him? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Can he handle your offense? Absolutely.
Yep.
Is he okay with riling you up and then getting your socks wet? And absolutely.
Yeah.
If it's going to be a part of your growth and it's going to continue to grow you and develop you, man, he will get you out your comfort zone. He's going to say some things to you that you do not want to hear.
Yep.
But, that's why he's God and I'm not.
This is true. Right. This is true. Yep. This is true. Yeah.
And like you said, Daniel had every opportunity. If there was a time to confront the king and to cast judgment on him, and to put him down and to make him feel awful about himself and confront him with his sin and try to convict him of his sin, this was the time for Daniel to do it. He was probably going to die for it, but I mean, hey, you go out swinging, you know what I'm saying? Right. I go down winning. I stay winning out here. But he approached it just from a place of relationship with the king.
Yep.
And
he had that relationship.
Yeah.
He'd been there from age 16 to 40. So
that's some street cred.
Yeah, he's got street cred. That's right.
He's got respect on the
respect.
Respect on the name.
My authority. Yes. Yes. He did though, and he had it. He had the relationship to be able to do it. Not many people had the relationship to be able to talk to the king that way. That's so huge, man. I think that's one of the things I see in our world all the time that's missing is that. I know we started with that, but I really,
too many yes people that just say. We surround ourselves with people who just say yes to whatever we're doing.
Yep.
And anyone that disagrees with us, we kind of shoo. I need people that will agree with me.
We unfriend them.
Right.
How many people have you like unfriended on social because like they have a different political opinion, or they see masks or vaccines or politicians in a different light than you do?
Yeah.
Like you see it one way, they see it somewhere else. They post a few things that you don't agree with. And what do? Bam, block, unfriend, hide them, whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's so prevalent, but like unity in the body of Christ was never about uniformity. Like we don't have to agree on everything.
That's so good. Say that again.
Unity does not have to be uniformity.
There you go.
And so we don't have to agree on everything.
No.
But as long as we understand like where one another is coming from, we can build healthy communities and we can start changing the world.
Mm-hmm. One person at a time.
One person at a time. Well, on that note, unless you had another thing I think it's a little bit of a short.
I saw on your note.
Here we go.
You had the word pineapple written there. What's up with that?
So, I thought it was the word challenge because you were put in a safe word for confrontation, like pineapple.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that wasn't it. Yeah, so it's funny. I use that word pineapple all the time as like a joke, and so I joke around with like people. Like, you gotta have a safe word like pineapple, and I don't know why that's my go-to joking.
I love pineapples.
I do too. I like pineapples. They are good. Yeah, but that's kind of one of my joke words that I use all the time. So, yeah.
That's why I wrote, because I thought.
God, I saw the word pineapple on your notes, and I was like, what's that about?
Last week I put, where's Santa Claus? Yeah.
Oh, right, because we thought Santa Claus might be it, but no, it was. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. We need more word challenge.
Tonight at youth, I'm gonna challenge the
challenge for a word challenge.
Challenge them for a word challenge.
So then Pastor Steve is coming in a couple weeks.
Ooh.
I don't know if he watches this. He may or may not, but I think maybe we should give him a word challenge and see if he could do it.
I feel like we give him the word challenge from Drew and see if he can stick it in there,
Waterboarding?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that would be fun.
Well, if he knows it's coming, then but don't tell him.
Don't tell him.
Don't tell him.
If he's watching, don't listen to this.
Too late now.
Too late.
Yeah. We'll find a word for him.
We'll figure it.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get him to give him a word challenge.
Yeah, but we have exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up this series in Daniel. We're bringing it up with Pastor Steve and then following it Palm Sunday, Easter.
Yes, it's going to be a fun next few weeks.
Action-packed.
You don't want to miss it.
You won't want to miss it. Thanks so much for joining us in the Midweek Something where we talk about a whole lot of nothing.
Yep.
And we can't wait to see you next week.
That's right.